Let's get started with a little bit of recruiting notes. We talked about some of the recruiting stuff on Friday, and we've actually had some stuff transpire since we talked. So, Brian, do you want to dive into that a little bit, those notes a little bit?
Yeah, there was one guy we didn't talk about, which was Oklahoma State cornerback Carrington Pierce, who Nebraska was the first, and as of right now is the only Power 4 school, if I'm not mistaken, to offer him. Obviously, with the coaching change down in where they play, Stillwater, Oklahoma, with that coaching change, you get a certain period of time, even if it's during the season, to enter the portal. He entered during this period, which was 30 days. And Nebraska extends an offer. This is a big physical corner, 6'2", 190 pounds. Came from the JUCO ranks last season, and Nebraska actually had tried to get him at the very end of last year's recruiting cycle. This was like a blip on the radar, so we didn't really spend much time talking about him this time last year because he ended up committing to Oklahoma State pretty quickly. So Nebraska is circling back here 12 months later. He is more of a project guy, similar to those guys we're talking about on Friday. Just one of those guys, you look at the athletic traits, basketball player in college at the JUCO level, and then even in high school. So he's very, very raw for a corner, but you like that 6'2" frame that's 190 pounds. Obviously, athleticism for basketball does translate a little bit to the football field, especially with the hip fluidity as a corner. So this is one to watch. He's coming in for the Iowa game. And then the other two we had talked about as well on Friday, the big physical interior offensive lineman, 6'4", 340, Mekai Te'elua. I have no idea. I know I'm butchering it.
First team all name. Great job. I'll give you credit where it's due. It's a good attempt.
I gave an effort. This is a big one. On Friday, this is why I love recruiting, because things change so quickly. So on Friday, we're thinking, Nebraska's pretty loaded with their 2026 recruits right now. They already had 4 or 5 on the offensive line board for the class of 2026. They're going to try and hit the portal, obviously, in this offseason coming up. And I wasn't expecting much movement from this particular individual. I'm going with Mekai or something like that. However, once his official visit was confirmed, shortly thereafter, or just before that visit, is when Nebraska lost the commitment of Noil Jr., who Leon had visited Mississippi State prior, about 2 weeks ago. And that was your official, red alert going off. Because I know when Nebraska was recruiting him before his commitment, it was really down to Baylor, Nebraska, and Mississippi State, and he never took that visit to Mississippi State, which we thought would happen. And so then he does get that official visit. That was the immediate. Nebraska knew they needed to pivot. They went and found this big physical interior offensive lineman who's probably more ready-made to play next season as opposed to Leon Noil. Now, granted, Nebraska doesn't need as much interior offensive line help, but when there's a guy this big, this physical, this athletic, you definitely want to make sure that you give them the chance to come in for a visit. You really can size them up and get a true, eye test on them to make sure what you're seeing in person matches what you see on the film. And then another JUCO prospect linebacker, Taylor Schaefer. I believe he was from Iowa Western Community College, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. I really like him as an interior offensive line or interior inside linebacker in Nebraska's defense. Can play jack, can play edge, but at 6'3", 6'4", 240 pounds. This guy has the stereotypical makings of a Big Ten linebacker, in my opinion. And then the last one, this is a high school recruit. We talked about Dylan Berymon from Louisiana, 6'1", 6'2", 310 to 320 or 30 pounds, just depending on your recruiting service. 4-star defensive tackle that was committed to Texas, decommitted about a week or two ago. LSU is, I would say, the favorite, even though they're going through a coaching change. That's the home state school. And one thing, and Coach Bill Bush could attest to this too, when we had him on, was LSU or Louisiana kids do not leave the state of Louisiana very often. And this is a situation where Nebraska could take advantage of that coaching change. There is a lot of drama with that coaching search right now, with the governor being involved. So can they swoop in and get Dylan to come up from the Bayou? Absolutely, it's possible. Trying to get a visit for the Iowa game. So you got 4 confirmed official visitors for the Iowa game. So that's not too bad on a short week. Also on a 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. Central Time kickoff. Mm-hmm. That's the best part, because those are hard games to get in for visits.
Yeah, 100%. And can you back out, come back in? Oh, never mind. I think we're okay. I was echoing for 5 seconds, and now we're good. So cool. I appreciate the recruiting update there. So a little bit on that. And Matt Rhule, I don't know if anybody listened to the press conference at the end. He did talk about a little bit about the 26 class and the numbers and how it is a numbers game. So a lot of people harping on the 26 class. We've even had some in our comments, but 26 class, we've known this for a while, it's not going to be a big class. It's not going to be a class that it's probably going to rank dead last in the Big Ten, potentially, on sheer numbers. But it's not to be alarmed. They are attacking the JUCO ranks. They're attacking the portal, and you got the guys on the roster, a very young team as it is already. So recruiting and numbers aren't what they used to be. It's funny. Some people are like never, cared about recruiting numbers, or that they say they don't matter, but then all of a sudden are up in arms that our 26 class is ranked so low, and it's a blessing and a curse, But you got to look at the age of this team, the roster, the way they're attacking it, and it's clear the direction that they want to go. In the 27 class, again, that'll be the class we're going to reload on the freshmen. Clearly, Ahmad Hudson narrowed his schools down to top 12, and Nebraska, of course, is in his top 12.
Yeah, I think it's really top 3. I think it's A&M, LSU, and Nebraska.
I was going to say the same thing. Yeah, A&M, LSU, Nebraska probably are the 3 front runners for it. Brian's frozen in sneeze form right now, it appears. So either
I will say,
go ahead.
I think the order is Nebraska, LSU, A&M. I think that's the order.
Interesting. I didn't know if I was willing fully to kind of put my neck out there for that just yet. But you believe that?
100%.
Yeah. I like the way. I just feel like the 27 class that we currently have is really contributing to that, because he has a lot of guys from his class in his ear. A lot of guys from his class that really want him to be here and are making it known, especially if you're on X, you see it a lot. So
even just today.
Yes.
Again.
Yeah. A lot of peer recruiting going on. So that 27 class has the potential to be a top 5 class in college football if everything kind of pans out the way we think it might. But you can't say enough about the peer recruiting of these guys. And, the guy we had on the show last week, if y'all saw that interview, he is going after Iowa, which you love to see on X.
Yeah.
You love to see that. Exactly. He's buying into everything that this fan base wants from him. And that just shows you, I think, further his commitment, because at least he's not going to go to Iowa now. Otherwise, he's got some tweets to answer for.
What's funny, too, is he went after Colorado.
I love that. I did see that as well.
I'll add, too, with the 27 class, if you can get Ahmad Hudson, that could open a pipeline for Nebraska and Louisiana, because it really depends on who they get as their head coach. And there is a lot of crap, I guess you could say, going on with that coaching search, because Ahmad Hudson is not the only guy Nebraska's after in Louisiana that they have a legit chance to get. Albert Simeon, top offensive line. He's ranked 34th nationally. He'll be a 5-star before too long. He's the top 4 offensive guard in the entire country that Nebraska's in his top. There's more than that too. There is probably 4 or 5 more guys in that Louisiana area that are all highly recruited that Nebraska has a legit chance to pull out from Louisiana. And if they can do that, man, that class will be insane.
Well, and Tay Ellis talked about it, and we saw Trey Taylor post about it on X, just their commitment to kind of getting some of these big guys up front as well, too. So that is one good thing about this class. I think they want this to be a complete class coming up, but a lot of good stuff happening on the recruiting front. And we got a chance to kind of make some noise this week